Check one, check one,
Hey.
check 1, 2.
1, 2.
What it do, Nerdvengers?
do?
How you feel?
Hope you're feeling good.
Are you feeling good?
Are you feeling good this evening?
Purple emojis in the chat for your boys one time.
Let's see them. Let's get it.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
That's
I
all
better
right,
see
I'm
at least 35 before I even hit this button.
Right. I better see 35. Let me see that like button fly. Better be like Thor, how that hammer hit that like button.
Oh, that is Jedi Jen. Jedi Jen get it. She get it. Who else get it? Who else get it? Oh, Matthew K get
Matthew K, yep.
Dark Chaos get it. There we go.
Well,
All
there
right.
All right.
You ain't gotta twist our arms. We here. We have arrived.
So let's get it poppin'.
What it do, Nerdvengers? Neighborhood of Nerdvengers. It is another Thursday, and we in this thing, man. It is after dark. You know what it is. It's your boy Al. It's your man Lavis over here. We chilling, man. What's good, man? How has the week been for you, my guy?
The week was really good up until about 7:45.
Oh man, don't tell me. Let me guess. Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
That
I feel like maybe WB's at it again.
Oh, say we still got beef with them cats. We still beefing with them cats.
We got enough beef with them to make spaghetti, some hamburgers. I probably make a meatloaf. Yeah, we got lots of beef, man.
Hey, well,
lots of beef. We even got ramen noodle flavored beef.
Hey, well, it is what it is. Cause I hamburger help one of them mother. They want to try me like that. They might have beef, but you know what they ain't got, and that's that sauce.
Yes.
Cause if you ain't got the sauce, then that's your loss, son. Had to get that out. It's been a long week, man. I had to get that out.
No, I feel better.
Man, how y'all feeling? How is the chat feeling? The two-way. How is it going on this Thursday, man? It's been news on news. Who saw that Loki episode? Man, bruh. We done said it.
Man,
I don't think we can say it enough.
I don't think so.
Loki, the hottest MCU show by far, man. Like, hands down. I almost want to do the Kanye. Every time I hear somebody talk about anything else, I just be like, I'm going to let you finish. But we going to get into Loki, though. We going to definitely get into Loki.
Get into it.
But look, man, you already see. Look, let me lean back a little bit and look. Y'all know what it is, man. We got to talk. There is some news that just hit them streets. And man, look, we just gonna go on and get into it, man. I gotta bring up the projector because, man, look at this. We've got details, man. We have got details on the Book of Boba. Characters and plot details revealed in an exclusive by Andy Senior and Fandom Wire. Bruh. I don't know, man. You know how I am about my Star Wars, man. So you already know. But let's see what they talking about here.
Yes.
Let's definitely get into it. We just gonna ride on through this thing, man. We just gonna ride on through this thing. Says fans were elated to see Boba Fett return to Star Wars universe in season 2 of Disney's The Mandalorian. We were the first to break the news of a Boba Fett solo Disney Plus series, and now we're the first to break 2 Star Wars characters returning in the upcoming Book of Boba Fett, as well as some plot details. I'm here for it. Now, fair enough, spoiler warning.
Yes.
We letting you know now. Get on up out of here if you don't want to be spoiled, because it sounds like they finna get the spoiler. So let's see details. Man, number one, I'm already feeling the artwork. I don't know where that came from, but I'm here for it.
Right.
I'm already here for it. So the article says, last we saw Boba Fett, he helped Mando get Baby Yoda, aka Grogu, the Luke Skywalker, to train the Jedi and learn the ways of the Force. Then Boba, Ming-Na wins Finnick, went back to Tatooine to take over Jabba's palace and claim his throne. The Book of Boba Fett series, while a spinoff of The Mandalorian, was expected to show us what happened to Boba prior to the series and where he'd be off to next. Well, we've learned that while the show will in fact start with that fateful Sarlacc pit and Boba's escape, the spinoff series will quickly turn back into season 2.5 of The Mandalorian. So much so that two fan favorite characters will be returning.
Oh, man.
What?
Oh, man.
Man, look. Let me see. Let's see. Coming back.
Could it be?
Sources within Lucasfilm have confirmed that Din Djarin will be a part of the Book of Boba Fett. Okay, well, duh. And that Grogu will also appear. Say what?
Word.
How that gonna work? How exactly is that gonna work? It seems both the characters inside the show, as well as the powers that be at Disney, know how important Mando and Baby Yoda are. They were reportedly worried about letting Boba do his own thing for too long. We'll get into it after this. Let's just keep it moving.
Yeah, keep it moving. Yeah. Come on.
Continues as such. Both Pedro Pascal and Baby Yoda were on set for multiple episodes at the end of the series, and we're told it wasn't just for some flashback scenes. The Book of Boba Fett will answer where Grogu went and share some of his Jedi training. Let's go. Let's go. Now, it goes on to say, as cool as those scenes could be, I'm just surprised to hear that they're bringing Grogu back so soon from his Luke Skywalker training. However, we don't know if he goes back for more training later. The separation from Grogu at the end of season 2 set up such a well-earned emotional moment for Mando. I expected Favreau to keep them apart for a season or two at least to truly earn the return of a more powerful Baby Yoda. But one can't deny the global love of that character and Disney's even greater love of selling more merchandise. What do you think of this reveal? Does bringing Mando and Grogu back so soon get you more or less excited for the Book of Boba Fett? And once again, this was courtesy of Fandom Wire and Andy Signor. Now, I'm going to start with you, homie.
Of course.
What are your thoughts, man? How do you feel about these details on the Book of Boba?
I mean, there's so many questions, though. So if they're bringing back Grogu already, for all my DBZ fans out there, do they have like a hyperbolic chamber or some kind of something there they can grow him up and make him live up to the name of Grogu? Like, I don't think Star Wars have an incubation period or something. Like, how are we going to do this? How is this going to look? Are we going to have a little puppet-sized Yoda running around with a lightsaber, cutting open things, eating stuff now, force choking everybody because, now they can't stop him? Like, what are we doing bringing Grogu back so soon? But at the same time, though, for me, I am a little relieved to see and hear that they are bringing them back soon, because especially the speculation that happened around, or the things that happened around season 2 with was it Andy Pascal, that's his name?
Yep.
And him not wanting to have his mask off and all that types of stuff. Now we kind of speculated that maybe they ended the show because of that kind of controversy. Now we're hearing that maybe it didn't make much of a difference. He's going to actually be in what sounds like a good portion of Boba Fett. We don't know how many episodes we're getting, but I would almost speculate the way that they're talking, we could at least get a good quarter of them coming back in the show and explaining what's happening with Grogu, explaining what happened with Boba Fett, where they're going from there, and apparently not going to do flashbacks or progressing the story. Makes me wonder again with Mando, with Din Djarin, what happened with that saber, with the dark saber, with the black saber. Does he still have that? Are they going to answer any of those questions? There's so many different questions posed and hearing from them bringing them back so soon. I'm just wondering how they're going to do that. The Grogu aspect is more of the capture for me, and I think that's probably for most people. It's like, it'd been cool if we got a 0.5 and it was maybe continuing Mando's story and finishing up with the saber, but now we know we're going to get him back everybody's like, okay, well, screw Din Djarin. What's up with Grogu? So, how does that make you feel, though, man? Like, it's the Star Wars
Oh,
sweaty.
my man. First of all, I have to say, the idea of Jedi Grogu has me like, hey, let's go. Now, there's definitely the piece of that where I'm kind of wondering how they gonna do this with his training, because we've seen kind of the Jedi training process. You know, you start out as a Padawan and you train for a number of years. So we could see some of his training. My question is, where is he in his training when we get to see him? Is he coming back? Are we doing a time jump? And if so, how much of a time jump? Because we know that there's only a finite amount of years between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, which is where this is supposed to be taking place, is right in between those two movies. You know what I'm saying? So there's only a certain number of years there that you can play around with. Now, from that respect, how much of that is Grogu growing up? Like, or how much has he grown up in that timeline if we do a time jump? Like, what is at what level do Yoda's species grow? Like, how and mature?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because he's 50 now and he's still, not even using words. So,
yeah,
that's 50 years. Now, we don't know what and that's like what he's probably maybe in actual age, maybe 3 or 4 years old or something like that.
Right, but since like the question that I had, or the thing that comes to mind for me is, so since we don't know about the species and all that, and he went through like a trauma with the whole Order 66 thing, apparently being rescued and stuff, like would that kind of like stunt their growth? Does that keep them from evolving? And like, do they evolve? I mean, I know they're not Pokemon or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, we don't know. Like, maybe
You're right.
he evolves into something or grow, and that's how they actually grow. And we'll probably get to see that. Like, this just, again, like I said, it's just so many questions, and most of it for me is about Grogu.
Yeah, and this is where I have to be very careful with what I say right here. But this is where Disney Lucasfilm starts to make me worry sometimes. Because when I hear this screams paranoia. And what I mean by that is, this to me feels like they had a plan, they were down with the plan, but then all of a sudden they let doubt creep in and they were like, oh shit, we can't let Grogu sit on the shelf that long. We got to roll him on out there so people don't forget and we cash in on this money. And so now they're kind of bringing him back in, which again, I get it. It's a business. That's what they here for the bucks. The mouse ain't here. He about that cheddar, baby. He want that money. So I get it. But as long as it does not sacrifice the story, because I agree with what the writer was saying in that conclusion to season 2 of Mando, like you couldn't ask for anything better than that. You could not ask for a better ending. That payoff was incredible. And when Luke takes Grogu off, you have the expectation that he's going to be gone for a minute. Now, again, you can explain or you can bring him back the very next season with a time jump or something of that effect. Totally get that. But my question is, how is that going to work? I'm right there with you, bro. That's my question also with this. But also, what is the overarching story going to be for Boba, Din Djarin, Grogu, and that whole, Filoni verse? Like, where are we going with that? Because again, even if we talk about a time jump, what are we time jumping to? We know that at some point the First Order begins its formation, and that that kind of kicks off, or I don't want to say kicks off, but picks up some steam right around the time where it's outed that Darth Vader was Leia's father. Because if you read the I can't remember the name of the book, I think it's a Claudia Gray novel, but in that book they kind of explain how she was going, running for office in the New Republic, but then they leaked this out to basically sabotage her career, and it was effective. And her whole thing was she was trying to get to Ben because she wanted to be the one to tell Ben because she hadn't told him yet. And so we know that Ben was probably maybe 10 or 11 around that time. So if you just start doing math, you figure you've got about a 4 or 5 year gap, because I think they said like that first season one of Mando took place 7 years after Return, 5 to 7 years after Return of the Jedi, or somewhere in there. And so that means that you coming almost right up on about the time, within the next 4 or 5 years where Leia's about to be outed. So that's like the First Order is about to begin making itself known within the next, let's say, if we want to be completely liberal, let's say 10 years. What, again, Grogu's 50 now by our count. So how far ahead are we going to jump in the Book of Boba that he'll have had some Jedi training, and where will his training be? And you know what I mean? It's a lot of questions. And again, I'm not saying that I expect it to be bad, but it's like, man, I hope there's a plan here.
Well, okay, so I guess for me, if I'm really going to think of any kind of plan that would make sense, I think maybe we're thinking about it maybe too close to the chest or too myopically. So we're hearing that those two characters are going to return in Boba Fett, but that doesn't mean that we're going to see them together.
Facts. That's true. That is true.
They also did patent that Jedi Academy name, so it would kind of stand to reason and/or make sense that they didn't have too much confidence in the Boba Fett show. Maybe people weren't asking for it; they didn't want it, and that'll feed into what you're talking about with the paranoia. So instead of them trying to actually lean too much on that show, knowing that we do want these characters back, why not have it to where you pick up where it is now, you show Din Djarin, and try to maybe fix that story up a bit with the, like I said, with the Darksaber, maybe pin him with Boba, get some more, maybe Boba's telling Din Djarin about his escape, and that's how we get to see that character, and then skip real fast or back and forth a bit with maybe later in the year we'll hear they casted a Luke. Would be awesome and feed into what I'm thinking a little bit more. But if we get a Luke character, they could go back and forth and show him kind of unlocking Grogu again, because he's already gotten some training before the whole Order 66 thing. Obviously, he does know how to command the Force in ways. He's just not a master at it. So as far as showing some of his training, like we're thinking, like, like I said, seeing my man running around with a little baby lightsaber and stuff, but it could just be showing them unlocking his potential, and possibly giving more answers to the species, and that could possibly be how they grow him up, or again, incorporate the story to where when we pick back up in season 3, that it makes more sense and we can kind of move past some of the cliffhanger stuff that they left us with.
No doubt. So, I mean, I got you.
That would make sense if they kind of went in that direction, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Having a plan.
That's the thing, man. And that's just where I get kind of unnerved, is it's like, because there's so much we don't know yet, it just makes me wonder, like, you heard, the whole thing. And then the other thing that kind of jumps out at me is you think back to a couple of weeks ago where there was this confusion where Pedro was saying, well, no, we haven't filmed anything for season 3 yet. But then you had conflicting reports coming from, I think, Tamir Morrison and all of them. And so then it's like, no, well, they definitely been shooting season 3, and then we find out, okay, well, we know Book of Boba's coming, and so we're getting this news, and so then you hear all of this kind of confusion, and it's just like, well, wait a minute, what is, like, are y'all all just playing coy because you want to keep us in the dark on what's going on, or like, what is the deal here? Because the thing that again, you had so much momentum with the end of season 2 of Mando. Like, you cannot squander that. Like, that we're at, in my opinion, a very pivotal point in the future of Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Like, the legacy of Star Wars, I think, is cemented. We can always go back to, if nothing else, the OG trilogy, for some people, the prequels, and really enjoy and dive into the lore and all that good stuff. We'll always have that. But I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about where Star Wars is going to go in the next 5, 10, 20 years. You know what I'm saying? And what stories are there to tell? What stories are you setting up for the future? It's cool to flesh out more of the stuff that we already know. And there's a whole bunch of stuff, if they really wanted to get into it. I know a lot of fans aren't really down with it, but there's a whole lot of stuff with the sequel trilogy that they could go in and retcon, or they could like flesh out and give a little bit more understanding to, not too dissimilar to what I think the MCU is doing with this Loki show in Phase 4. You know what I'm saying? Like they're doing it, I think, in a little more of a proactive way, but some of it is a little bit, I don't want to say retcon, but it's a little bit, retroactive in the sense that we already got WandaVision. But as we see with Loki, there's some implications in Loki that might make some things that we had an issue with in WandaVision make a little bit more sense. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the way, there's a precedent set already for them to go that route. So all I'm saying is I'm definitely down to see more Grogu. I'm shocked that we would get it this fast. But as long as Favreau and Filoni have a plan, man, and they know where we're going with this, I'm with it. I am with it. I want.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Now we also heard that it's supposed to Boba Fett in another article that Book of Boba is going to be a little bit darker and more gritty. Mm-hmm. I am 1,000% for that, man. How about you?
Oh yeah, 100%, man. I'd like to see him smashing some more Stormtrooper helmets.
Yeah, man.
That's brutal enough for Disney. DC.
Oh wait a minute, hold on. We don't do that here.
Yeah, no,
anymore.
We definitely. Yeah, definitely don't.
FWB.
Anymore. See them emojis, people.
FWB.
Yeah, that's definitely gritty enough for a company like Disney. It was a little unexpected to even see them go that far. Because they're like them hits was hard, dude. Like I hope they paid them stuntmen really well. Or at least had them padded up because they caught every bit of that staff and all that stuff. So yeah, give me a grittier Boba. Give me somebody who's ready to just pop a cap in you because you questioning him and he don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me some scenes like that where somebody on the other side is running their mouth and he just takes him out. Everybody draws their guns and he's just standing there like, what? What are you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
What you gonna do? Yeah, give me that.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's Star Wars, baby. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna be happy regardless, as long as it ain't trash. But it just makes me wonder, man. Like you know all of the stuff that's been rumored, all of the stuff that's coming down, but then you hear this and it's like that's dope. It's not gonna be as long as we thought. But then the more I think about it, because I'm sitting here kind of processing this right now, and it's like the one thing that I can't seem to like just reconcile in my head is the fact that there is, and not for me. Like, let me just say this. For my own, as long as the story's dope and it makes sense, I will have no problem with them, not hesitating to bring Grogu back. My fear is that certain fans will latch on to this, and if they don't nail it, use it as their primary argument for why Star Wars is not good anymore. And how and you know what I mean? And because that's kind of where we are right now. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to fandom, when it comes to social media, and when it comes to people wanting their opinions to be heard, we are at a point where the smallest little thing that they can latch on to, or the biggest thing that they can latch on to, if somebody can latch on to that shit, they gonna latch on to it, and they gonna use it, and they gonna run with it. And that's the thing for me. It's just like, I understand, and I'm not saying that we all have to be in agreement, but I just don't want Star Wars to be marred in controversy from a fan standpoint, because we got enough of that already, man. So that's just where I'm at with it, man. It's just it's a good sign as long as Filoni is that dude and they will allow Filoni to be that dude. Now, the last question I have on it is, do you think that this decision is an abrupt one in the sense that you think this came from the mouse and the execs, or do you think this was something that was probably in the plan with Filoni and Favreau from the beginning?
I would say, from my honest opinion, I think it actually might have been in the works from the beginning, to be honest, because I think with the speculation of them saying that they've already been shooting season 3, or even if it's confusion or confirmation, that just means that even way back when they did season 2, that they had already planned to kind of bring them back in some form or fashion. And the Boba Fett show is most likely a tool
Right.
because of Andrew Pascal's availability, because he's also doing that Last of Us
Yes.
show, or that movie, or excuse me, it's escaping me right now exactly what he's doing, if it's a movie or a TV show, but he's still tied up doing that. So, and then apparently they're doing like reshoots or whatever, so now it's going to take him a little bit longer. So the Book of Boba, to me, and of course that's already been slated, so they already knew he would be unavailable for whatever amount of time. So it just looks like this is just a tool or something that they used. They was able to get him in to record as much as they were able to in order to make a 2.5, because then that gives them more time to be able to put season 3 together more comprehensively and not try to have to cookie cut or take something out of it, you know, whatever the case might have happened with that. Plus, it's kind of, for them, it kind of works, especially with how last year went in the first place. So it would have been, I think, more detrimental or more pensive to the fans if we were planning on getting to season 3, last year hit us like it did, and then all of a sudden they got to push that off, and we got to wonder and speculate about stuff for a whole season 3 for however long it might have taken for them to get that out. Now we can kind of lean more on the Boba Fett show, get those answers that haven't been answered in years with him, and flesh out the characters a little bit more. And then you bring them back into season 3 and you play off a little less on the Boba Fett, because now certain things aren't being asked anymore. And you can get more into focusing on where that show is going. Because to be completely honest, even though we're getting rumors that the Grogu is going to be helmed a little bit more in the Book of Boba Fett, I get a small inkling and kind of idea that maybe we're getting the two of them for the last time in Boba Fett, even if, whether they're together or not. And I think Grogu is going to wind up being over on another show, be it something that's not announced yet.
So you're saying in the Mandalorian, this would be.
Yeah, I think in the Mandalorian, I think they're going to probably turn Mandalorian into more of the show title, the more of the show name. Yeah. Because whether you believe it or not, like, Grogu stole that show. It was not the Mandalorian for 2 seasons.
Without question.
Not at all. So I feel like you kind of put something or a character like Grogu in something a little more on his base, which would be something more like in a Jedi Academy type deal. You show that off a little bit to get that dynamic through in Boba Fett, get everybody hyped up to see that. And then you drop a season 3 of Mandalorian, and then you drop Jedi Academy, and then people will just completely lose it, because now they have to focus not only on what's going on with Din Djarin and an actual Mandalorian show, then we got to go ahead and see what's going on with Grogu in the Jedi Academy, plus everything that comes with that, with having Luke and other kind of characters. Maybe Kyle Katarn could show up, and see how that fell and all that types of stuff. So I would say if Filoni is helming this, and it seems like it's a plan that they've had from the beginning, that's a great marketing strategy and way to go about it. Just tease it in Boba, and then you drop it on everybody in the next year or so.
No doubt.
That's smart.
No, and I think you spot on with that, bro. Like, I think the one thing that if they nail this, you bring them back and you introduce the idea of a Padawan Grogu, and you show some of his training and whatnot, and then you let him dip off. And the next time we see him, like, to your point, would be if we get like that Luke Skywalker show or a Jedi Academy show or something like that, or maybe even in the Ahsoka show, you see more of him from that standpoint. But yeah, that would be cool. And I've always been of the mindset that I want this show, The Mandalorian, to eventually evolve into a show that is more focused around Mandalorians in general, because I want to know what happens with their creed going forward. Like, do they get wiped out before we get to the events of the sequel trilogy? Are they somewhere else? Is there another threat? And I've said this, I know Josh has kind of hinted at this a little bit, shout out to the homie. But for me, where I really would love to see this go is that there's some kind of a threat beyond this galaxy, beyond this galaxy, like out, like way in the unknown region somewhere, that maybe Ezra and Thrawn found out about, or something to that effect, to where it's like look, y'all over here sweating Palpatine and the Sith, but y'all don't realize they ain't got shit on what's about to show up. And we all gonna have to figure out a way to survive this. And that be kind of where that we shift moving forward, is that now we talking about like galaxies going to war with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like whole different, like introduce groups and things, maybe start borrowing from Legends a little bit. You know, I think it's the Yusak Vong and all of that. Bringing some of that stuff in and like really building up the idea that the stakes are raised beyond some other group building another damn Death Star. Like we've seen that 3 times now. Like let's move beyond it and let's really let's evolve Star Wars into something more. And maybe this is the start of that. And so if it is, I'm cool with it, man. I am definitely cool with it if that's the case, man.
I totally feel like this could be the start of that. And if you watch the trend period, you know, Marvel's in a new phase. WB is in a new phase. So it's only right that Star Wars.
I'm sorry.
No, you okay over there?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Right?
I'm just allergic to WB. That's all.
I'm about to say is making sure you didn't slip nothing in your purple drink. You know.
Nah, man. You know
want that. But it only makes sense that they follow the trend and start switching over to, like you saying, some of the untouched things, some of their uncut gems, and start giving that out to the people and fleshing out the story, get a plan together, and then get your future stories for the next 10, 15 years, you know, ahead. Get them together, man. Just
right.
Tighten up.
That's it.
I'd like to see that.
But I tell you, man, speaking of blowing shit wide open and making all the dots connect, let's talk about that Loki though.
Yes.
Like, let's stop playing and let's get into this Loki, man. Like right off the rip, I gotta ask, and let me put it up right now. How did you feel, man? Episode 5. Talk to me.
Episode 5. I have to probably give this one, and don't take it the wrong way, because I know last show I gave the last episode 4. I gave that about a 9, but this one I'm gonna have to sit it at about an 8.
Okay.
I'm not saying it because I feel like it's filler or anything like that. I'm mostly saying that because it's actually still good. It's just on a straight level. It's episode 5. So I guess what I mean is, like, for me, it's that you pull off that veil a bit. I get to see a little bit of what I'm getting ready to eat, but I can't touch it yet. And you know, everybody's probably like looking at me. Like, I always have weird ass gripes for stuff. Because like last week I was like, I didn't like how it left on a cliffhanger, and they're like, every episode's a cliffhanger. I know that, but just certain cliffhangers. Like, I'm
let my homie make it.
Let my homie make it. Finger. But no, I'm sitting at an 8. I know it was great. We had Richard E. Grant in there. We got them translating for Crocodile Loki. We get to see how they're probably gonna handle the Kid Loki, which I'm actually, believe it or not, seeing Kid Loki has honestly made me a little more excited to see what they're going to do with Young Avengers.
Okay.
Because I really was waiting to see the inside antagonist. Like, they're going to have their main villain. Yeah, but Kid Loki doesn't play well with others. So seeing him and being on this show, and like his variancy was him killing Thor.
Right.
Like, how is he going to play on Young Avengers? Like, he's going to be the youngest killer, technically, on that team. Well, most of them are going to be heroes. So I'm looking forward to that arc. But other than that, it was just a good episode for me. It wasn't a bad one. It wasn't a good one. It's not something I was going to be like, oh, this is a 9, 10. It wasn't a 6, 7.
Okay.
So it's like an 8. I'm comfortable with saying it was about an 8, and I'm excited to see how we're gonna end this. But seeing how they ended this episode, it ties a lot more together.
No doubt.
What we think is gonna happen. So what about you?
Oh, show. I hadn't, to be honest with you, I hadn't even thought about it from a number standpoint, because I just been kind of soaking it up. I've watched the episode, I think, like 3 times already. But I would put it at about an 8.5, 8.59. It was a damn good episode. I loved Richard E. Grant, like you said. I I'm blown away by the number of Easter eggs they find a way to throw into, because I had no idea. Like, again, I'm kind of a swarmy when it comes to the Marvel stuff. I know some of the comic runs and everything like that, some of the overall stories, but I was never like somebody that actually dove into the comics themselves. I kind of jumped on that bandwagon a little late, but seeing like the Thanos helicopter and finding out that that's an actual thing from the comics, and like watching stuff like that, like seeing them drop the head of the Living Tribunal out there, just the crazy stuff that they are dropping. Like, this is what I was waiting for from the MCU, because this is what I feel like they have really conditioned the modern day cinematic comic fan to expect. I mean, you literally just got off of, like I said, the Infinity Saga, where we just watched a big purple Grimace get all 6 of these Infinity Stones. They got hyped up the entire time, snapped his fingers, and took half of life in the universe out of commission. Now, on a side note, does anybody wonder, or has anybody thought about the possibility of when people got snapped, them going to the void? Anybody thought about that?
Like, no, actually, I never really thought about them, because like the lore with the Soul Stone is like they technically get pulled into the stone. But it would be interesting if for the MCU version, instead of you getting pulled into the stone, all of them were living on some kind of a void, like an ended space type deal for their universe. That would totally be dope. Like this, and that's still something they can still play into too, even though they haven't really dove into it. Like, people come back and they don't really remember. That doesn't mean that they didn't have a whole nother life somewhere in the void. So that's what I'm
saying. And that's the thing, is like I feel like even in the Infinity Saga, right? Even going back to the Infinity Saga, the one stone that I felt like got more attention or focus, it would maybe it'd be a tie, would be the Mind Stone or the Time Stone. Like, the Time Stone really, to me, has been a focal point. And you look at what's going on with Phase 4 right now with the Loki show, and how much time has to do with that, right? And how the concept of time and timelines and all of this stuff is playing into it. And so, to me, that element, not the stone itself, but that element of time, to me, seems like it's something that would play if they did want to adapt it and say, okay, well, in the MCU, it's not that they get pulled into the soul stone,
right?
Like you said, it's actually the void, because it's basically you're removing these people from the timeline. And that basically he pruned, if you will, half the universe in that sense. Like, that would be nuts just to think about on its own. But that's basically where my mind has been with this, is like just really trying to figure out where this is going and how pieces can fit, and like where these theories. And this is what gets me going when it comes to this shit, because I feel like we haven't been able to do this since pre-pandemic. Name the last piece of content that we had that you could theory craft and speculate on this level and not really know what's coming. That's the thing that's crazy. It's like, we could do that a little bit. We did that a little bit with Mando. I think we did that with WandaVision. But we and with Falcon, but we exactly right. but it was off. We almost got punished for it with WandaVision, because it was like everything that we were thinking, they were like, nah, it ain't that deep. Well, here's the thing, and this is something that I'm not taking credit for this theory whatsoever, because I know I've seen other people mention it. But here's the one, like, everybody's talking about Kang showing up and it being Kang behind it all. I've heard some people say Doom, but I think about WandaVision, right? And I think about how WandaVision played out and how we all got pissed because it was Agatha all along, right? Well, what if they stick with that theme? And what if it was Loki all along? And the person behind the TVA is actually another Loki. And this particular Loki is the one that figured out not only how to infiltrate the TVA, but how to get rid of the timekeepers. And now he is essentially running or trying to keep the one timeline intact where Loki actually does, so quote unquote, rule the universe. Right. And so he's basically there doing that. And the reason that he specifically has a TVA pruning Loki's is to make sure that no other Loki is able to get to him and thwart his plan, because that's what Lokis do, right?
Right.
That's all that they've been setting up in this show, is how Lokis aren't what you think they are. But the idea that, you know, the main Loki in this story to the that Tom Hiddleston's playing is kind of breaking the mold in a way. Like he's going to be the one to kind of start this new kind of situation. So I was thinking about that, man, and it's like it would be crazy because you could still do Kang with that, because it could be that Loki's thinking that he's running the show, but basically Kang's been pulling his strings the whole time. And yet again, here's an example of Loki thinking he's doing something, but he was only a means to an end. That glorious particular purpose. Glorious purpose. Exactly. I think that would be crazy for it to be. And imagine a scene on the level of what we saw with Vision and White Vision, but it's two Tom Hiddleston Lokis having like this super in-depth conversation about the concept of the TVA and all of that, and why this is his glorious purpose. And because it's something about what Richard E. Grant's Loki was saying about his future. And I'm gonna shut up after this, and because I want to get your thought. But he mentioned that after he faked his death with Thanos, that he just went out in the isolation and hid. Right? He just went into hiding. Well, what's to say that another Loki in a different universe didn't do the same thing? But at that point, when he was pruned or whatever, he was able to figure out what was going on and navigate the TVA. He learns the secrets and he takes the TVA over, or he basically gets rid of the timekeepers. So it's basically the eventual, what will turn into the old man Loki, but that his path was slightly different, or his timeline was the variant in his timeline is that he didn't actually just go into isolation. He actually went searching for, or the TVA found him, so he went on kind of the same path that Sylvie went on, like and succeeded, and that's what's, you know, been going on this whole time. Because to me, that would be like the ultimate payoff without really confusing normies. Because I feel like if you just go, if we get to episode 6 and he rolls up into that castle and sees Kang, right, or even if it's Loki, because I think there's a scene of Loki in the castle, like him walking in and seeing himself. And, you know, some people, I was reading, some people were saying, well, maybe that's just a projection. Maybe that's Kang playing with him or something like that. But my thing was, what if it's not? What if that's an actual Loki that thinks he's running shit, but then finds out that Kang has been running him? And then that is what, you know, Ravonna feels like. She all of a sudden realizes the same thing. So then she becomes enamored with Kang the way that she is in the comics based on that, because she gets that revelation and she's like, oh, well then I'm all about this dude because he's been pulling these strings this entire time and had us all tripping. Like, that's, am I tripping, man? Like, are you seeing this?
No, I'm actually kind of with you there. Like, I was kind of on the whole Loki all along type tip too, because even in the trailers, you kind of see that, you know, you got that King Loki, and they haven't paid that off at all either. But like you said, is that like a projection? Is that maybe Kang trying to say, hey, you know, you join with me, and this could be your future. This is a timeline that you could rule, because she did kind of foreshadow and say that maybe at the end of this, there's a timeline that, you know, needs ruling.
Right.
You know, he can go do that. So, I mean, that could be a kind of a foreshadow type deal there. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like maybe someone else is still pulling the strings behind the Loki that we're going to get to see being the front runner or whatever.
Right.
It would make better sense to have a character like Kang maybe cameo and not try to like steal the last episode of a show named Loki.
Exactly.
So it would make better sense. Like you said, it would probably confuse the normies a little too much. Although we already know that, you know, he's been casted and everything, it still seems a little too soon.
Yes.
For that
part.
And it would make sense if even if it is a Loki, that that castle that we see is probably like maybe in the quantum realm,
right,
or something like that, because they say how, you know, especially when they're in the TVA, like where would it be located where the powers and everything like that are kind of negated, where they don't work. and it's mostly speculated or said that is in the quantum realm. So them killing off Elias and being able to see into that realm, or that subatomic realm, you gotta think about it though. Like they didn't just break a dimension, they broke down through layers and layers of like microscopic stuff that we can't even see. It's not, and then that, because you're so small, whatever, that's what's really breaking the time. The time is different. So it would make good sense for it to still kind of be a Loki all along situation with a small twist of, no, it really wasn't Loki, it was actually Kang, or the Immortus character, or something to that effect. I think it would probably lose some people if we go straight from Loki to Kang all of a sudden. I think it doesn't need to be like an origin or anything like that, but it would probably be best suited if it is revisited wholly in Ant-Man 3 and not kind of broken up into this kind of a thing. And also, to your point, it would make a great deal of sense for it to be a Loki, because they still haven't really answered the reason why or what Sylvie did to be a variant in the first place. And that's kind of sounds like, maybe like she was saying, like she's created by the universe wants to break free, blah 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 blah. It would make sense, kind of stand to reason. You know how it is when people go through time and try to fix things and change things, and then wind up setting up their own demise in the first place. And like you said, it could be a Loki that went and hid, and then trying to found a way to infiltrate the TVA, take it over. And then he's like, well, if I was able to do it as a Loki, of course, all these other Lokis probably would be able to do it. Go around pruning all of them. And in the midst of that, like he's seeing this female version of himself, and it's like, well, this one is kind of different. Maybe this one will be the one to figure me out. Could be like a prophecy thing or something, like a paranoid prophecy type deal. So he goes and tries to just scoop her up at a young age before she can be a problem. And obviously that wound up causing the problem. And here we are to where they're about to enter the castle and stop him anyway. That's typically how those types of stories go. You thinking you're fixing stuff and stopping things, and that just creates a completely different dynamic.
Exactly. And that could be what sets off all the multiversal stuff, is that it's like, okay, well, in them trying to get to, the bottom of who's running the TVA or whatever, they disrupt that. And then you get all of these different timelines or whatever that start branching off, because they've basically destabilized that situation. And then all of a sudden, bam, you've got What If. You've got all of these variants and everything else. And this is the thing, man. Like, the more I keep thinking about this, because as we've been talking about, the Secret Wars thing, and knowing that that's where, this is kind of leading to and whatnot. And we talked about this a little bit last night on the evening stream with Elisa. Shout out to Elisa. Hey, what's up, homie? We talked about this yesterday, and I was thinking about it even more last night. The MCU, the MCU is basically in a place where it's kind of like you have this group, you have this audience now that is obviously digging the shit that you're putting out, but they're still, quote unquote normies, right? They don't really know this stuff backwards and forwards like some of us do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm reminded of that every time I watch this with my wife, because she'll say stuff and like I'm getting these epiphanies, and she's like, yeah, but to normies, like we don't understand this. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't have to yet. Like it's cool. But my thing is, how are you going to explain the idea of all of these different versions of characters to somebody who doesn't read comics? And they basically just did that with this concept of variants, right? So now they have created a way to explain any type of iteration, any type of a reboot, any type of a recast, anything that they want to do with any of the characters in the MCU. They can recast them in any way and basically explain it as being a variant. So the question I have with that then is what kind of doors will that open up? And what doors has that already opened up that we don't even know about yet?
Right.
Like, there's so much stuff going, but What
It's
you got?
ironic that you actually bring that up because there was an article that came out the other day. Excuse me for not getting who wrote it, but Feige did come out and say that they are done doing contracts. There is no more contractual obligation for their actors to be in the MCU. And that opens up a vast amount of doors. And I think that's a big reason why the multiverse idea is such a huge thing, because now you could bring in a particular actor. We could even get a Krasinski, Ben Richards. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me, a fantastic. Mr. Fantastic. We could actually get a version of that, maybe in a movie or just a TV show or something like that, and it really not mean anything other than just be fan service. They can actually do a little more fan service stuff now with not having to, and they can get more big name actors too. That people are more expecting or maybe would like to see, but normally wouldn't do it, because this was kind of the gripe that we've had, or at least we have seen, when it comes to people signing up or wanting to be in MCU movies,
right?
How they've handled it in the past, like Robert Downey Jr. and all of them, they stuck in for over 10 years doing these characters under contract. Now that they don't have to do that anymore, if anything happens, God forbid, they get an actor and he passes away, actress passes away, they can now have a quick explainer on why this character looks different.
That part.
And they can do other stories and stuff like that now. If something gets stale for that actor and they don't want to do it anymore, then they can quickly have another person step in and do that. And it's just a multiverse variant or a different version from the multiverse that's stepping in. And nobody, that's the quick filler. That's the quick explainer. And like I said, unfortunately, we had a Chadwick Boseman situation now, to where unfortunately he passed away. We don't know how they're going to handle the Black Panther situation. And now it makes sense why they wouldn't recast. You can just do something like they're trying to do in What If, or what they're doing in What If, and give us a King Killmonger. It doesn't have to be a Black Panther. They said the Black Panther is just the helm. It could be anybody. And it's just this feeds more into it now, that anybody can be put into these roles. They can get young actors now that maybe that's their first up and coming thing, but of course they have other ambitions. Fine. You just do it until you get to that clout. We'll write you out of the story, but keep the character at the same time. And it's a recast. Well, we don't have to call it that anymore, because why?
Exactly.
People hate recasts. Everybody hates a recast. Nobody likes seeing 2 or 3 iterations of something with their favorite actor, perhaps. They get stale of doing it, and then now all of a sudden we get Mark Ruffalo instead of Edward Norton, and then no explainer on that. You know what I'm saying? So I think the multiverse aspect of it is kind of where they're leaning into, not just because it's great for us fans, but also it's a great business move for them. They don't have to worry about, and this way also, for people like my man who played White Vision. I'm not blanking on these names tonight. I know him, but he's also saying that he's not under any contract. He's not contracted to play White Vision anymore. They haven't really spoken to him about anything. He could possibly be telling the truth, or he could be molding it a bit, because that's the truth he can lean on now.
Because he's technically not under contract, but
totally not.
Exactly. So I hadn't seen that article, but that's hella interesting, because that would explain quite a bit. And like you said, that's the first thing that I thought about when I started looking at this whole thing with the variants, is they have just figured out a mechanism to swap actors and actresses in and out whenever they need to, and they have the perfect explanation for it now. And it was
Paul Bettany, thank you.
Yes, Paul Bettany. And because we were talking about yesterday, we were talking about the King Killmonger leak and the Funko Pop with that, and kind of the possibility of him maybe playing a role in Black Panther 2, or could we see that some kind of a spinoff in the Wakanda show where he's involved or something like that. And it's you want to say on one hand, no, that's too outrageous, but now it's is it though? You really have to ask yourself, is it, how out of bounds is it at this point now to start thinking about a Tom Cruise Iron Man? You know what I'm saying? When you said that 3-4 months ago, it's man, that's fanboy dreaming. But now you Is it? We just saw alligator Loki, bro. Like,
Right.
we just saw like what 4, 5, 6 different versions of Loki in one episode of a show.
Right.
Like, this is what I meant when I said I wanted the MCU to turn up. Like, when I wanted it to really start going there in the sense of the comic and like opening things up and really getting wild with it. This is it, because now we are at a point where all bets are off. Like, that What If trailer is so telling, not just from the fact that it's going to be dope as hell, because believe me, it's going to be dope as hell, but there's going to be so much validity and implications within that show in terms of what's going forward in the future. And I'm telling you right now, if one of those characters pop off, if you don't think there's no way that they won't find a way to work that particular character into a show or something somewhere down the line in the future, you crazy. You crazy.
Yeah.
Because they're definitely going to be looking and trying to see how people respond to that stuff. It's inevitable that it happens, because again, it's all about making money. And if they realize that they've got a cash cow on their hands with a Captain Carter show, you don't think they'll do a Captain Carter show? Like, they have the reign to do that now, and you could turn the What If show at this point, you could turn that into a whole division in the MCU. Like, just think about that, bro. You could turn that into a whole, like, kind of like Star Wars has, the legacy films or whatnot, and now Star Wars has this ancillary content that is doing on Disney Plus. The MCU could have its MCU legacy timeline stuff, but then have a whole What If universe where we get storylines and plots based in universes that like are just different iterations of the multiverse. And that's crazy, because it opens up so many different possibilities, and it takes everything off the table for when we do get to Secret Wars, because now you can bring in any character that has ever been in a Marvel movie and have a perfect explanation for it that fans can understand at this point. And that's the key, is that now by giving them this idea or introducing this idea of variance, that's all you have to say. And normies are like, oh, okay. You don't have to overthink it now. Like, I heard, a lot of people were talking about, the time travel element and how it doesn't make sense. And if you think about it too much, it gets confusing. Well, now they've just made it to where you ain't even got to think about it no more.
Nope.
It's like, no, it's a variant. Just a different time from a different timeline.
Right.
Just
Yep. And they could handle it like how they did in Loki. You know what I'm saying? How they were jumping around and they flashed the name and the year or whatever. I'm thinking that's something like a precursor.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Foreshadowing element to where, like you said, maybe we don't keep that version of the character and they need some time to whatever on that. Easy. Okay, then you write a story that happened in Earth 517 or something like that instead of continuing to Earth 616 real quick. And you can visit all these different Earths and all these different multiverses and make them their own thing while they're like, there's just so many different directions that they can go with the multiverse.
Because think about it. Say you go there, right? Say you go all in. So then you start having stories that take place on different Earths, or in like, this is the 616 universe. So let's say like the 718 universe, and you've got stories being told there. You've now created a situation that when you get to Secret Wars and you start talking about incursions, you'll actually already know those versions of characters that may be colliding with Earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, now you have a mechanism for that, to where if all of a sudden, if Captain Carter and this is a bad example because I know T'Challa's Chadwick Boseman passed on, but you have Star-Lord as T'Challa. And like, those characters, if they exist in the same universe, in the same Earth, then they could be the ones showing up, you know what I'm saying, when the incursions hit. And it's like, oh snap, so they were from that Earth? Like, that's the Earth that's colliding right now? Like, you now have that kind of connective tissue within the cinematic realm, to where now it makes sense and people will be even more invested. Hell, you could even do a situation where when you start having the incursions, the universe where all of the Fox X-Men existed collides with Marvel. And like, even if they've already established the X-Men in the MCU by that point, now you have a mechanism for how you could bring back some of those characters and be like, oh snap, that Earth where that X-Men franchise took place is colliding now with the 616 universe. Like, that's insane. We have that ability now, and it makes sense for normies. That's the crazy part. And the thing for me that I think is so dope about the Loki show is that we've got all of this information and we still have no idea where this show is going to go with it by episode 6. Like, just think about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Think about WandaVision. And think about where we were when we got to the finale of both of those shows. We basically called that shit. We knew what it was going to be. We were just like, okay, how right are we going to be?
Yeah. And we want to have some fun with it, but it's hard to have fun with something that was that easily predictable. So I really choose not to think about that aspect. I just want to remember them as good shows that other shows are going to correct and make it even better.
That's what's up. I'm laughing too because I see Nikki in the chat. So I can't believe Al just implied the timeline stuff in the MCU is not confusing and fine for normies. It's not what I said. I said it doesn't have to be. It's only as confusing as you choose to make it, homie. Like, if you sit there and you think about it and you want it to all make sense to you and it doesn't, then I don't know what to tell you. But as a normie, it's kind of like when, you know what, the way that I like to look at it is it's kind of like when my kids were younger. I wasn't going to try to explain to my kids how the internet works. Like, they were blown away by the idea that, like, you could type in something and it pops up on the screen. If you try to explain to a 5-year-old the idea of bits and information being coded in zeros and ones and the computer being able to translate that into the pictures, sounds, and everything, your brain is going to be fried. So what you do is you just give them a very simple explanation and you say, don't think about it too hard. And that's literally what the MCU just did. They said, here's variance. Now don't think about it too hard. It's that simple. And that's the thing for me that I think is dope. I think there's a level, and there's nothing wrong with calling it out when there's places that don't make sense to you, or if you feel like there's places where creatively they could have taken a little bit more care to explain some things out. But I think the thing that we have to remember is that when it comes to the MCU and the stories that we're getting, it's still rooted in fantasy. So a lot of this is not going to just all add up to 5 when you start putting it together. It's supposed to, but there's gonna be gaps, and I'm okay with there being. Yeah, I mean, I'm totally okay with that as long as, again, I am entertained and I see where you're going. I think where Star Wars, and I'll give you an example. I think where Star Wars kind of lost its way a little bit is when Star Wars tried to like explain the Force too much. Like, it was one thing in the OG trilogy when they explained it as this energy that surrounds living things and everything else. All right, cool. I can get that. But then when you get to the sequels, and you get to 7, 8, 9, and they start kind of trying to grow the Force and turn it in, it's like, nah, wait a minute, hold on. Now you're getting a little too complex and you confusing yourself. Keep it simple. We don't need to know exactly how the Force works and who gets the Force, who's entitled to it. That's not what makes the Star Wars is being able to understand what the Force is. The Force is an instrument in Star Wars. It is a mechanism to help to push the narrative. That's it. Time travel is a mechanism to help push the narrative in this phase of the MCU. Not everybody has to like it.
Right.
It just needs to hold it all together.
It was said best in another universe, in another multiverse, in a movie of Joe Dirt. Multiverse is what you make. Okay? That's what this is, right? The multiverse is what you make. All right. Okay? So just remember, anytime you look at this and you get a little confused, just dumb it down for yourself. And multiverse is what you make. So when it really comes down to it, I really don't think it's not really all that confusing if you're following the story, to be completely honest. I think at this point, you're supposed to be a little lost because you don't know who's behind it. It's no longer the TVA. It's not exactly what the history of Miss Minutes or what she said. I'm glad Miss Minutes isn't the one that's actually turning out to be that one all along.
Preach.
But I'm still not saying that Miss Minutes is off the hook.
Right.
I feel like maybe as a computer generated whatever, she knows something, but she can't help but withhold it because she's just a program created for a means to an end. So she's not the liar technically, but she's going to be giving false information based on whatever she was created to do. So like when Ramona's asking for the history of the TVA, and she was like, "That's a tall order." It kind of sounds like Miss Minutes needs to go check with somebody real fast,
Right?
And be like, "Yo, can I get this
Can I
information?"
give
I
them-
got somebody
Bingo.
asking questions.
That
So
part.
like, I'm not taking her off the hook, but again, at this point, you're supposed to be a little confused because the story you were fed in episode 1 obviously isn't what it turned out to. By the time we are here now, especially episode 4, that kind of threw a lot of things out of the window. So I think even if if you're a normie, I think the biggest difference when it comes to the normies is they're not expecting like somebody like Kang or something like that. Most likely they're probably thinking what we're saying now is it must be another Loki because we've been doing nothing but getting fed Loki the entire series. So it would make best sense for them to be speculating in that way. And then if we do get a Kang in this, be it the actual Kang, like the Endgame Kang, or it be an Immortus version or whatever kind of variant version that we get of Kang, because you got to remember there's like 5 or 6 different versions of Kang as well. So which would also kind of make good sense that, and believe it or not, there's like 5 or 6 different versions of Kang, but technically they're all the same person. That's the thing about Kang. So looking at all these different actual versions of these multiversal characters being ran or at least being manipulated by somebody who technically kind of has a personality disorder, going around and dressing up in different ways and trying to put things and set them in stone for himself, kind of makes it would make sense still on a normie standpoint when they actually describe him. And I think you'll get that payoff again more when we get to Ant-Man 3, and they'll most likely flesh out the character a lot more. You get to see him as a young Nathaniel Richards and blah 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 blah. So I feel like this is leading up to make you want to go see Ant-Man 3 if that is the payoff, because that's kind of what everybody is expecting. And most companies, maybe they won't do it, that'd be a good twist too, but most movies and TV shows and stuff like that kind of build and lead up to their big thing. You know what I'm saying? So like WandaVision, the big thing with that was the multiverse of madness. We got a little surprise when the Captain America and the Winter Soldier turned into a Captain America 4 movie. We wasn't expecting any more Captain America movies, so now they can also squeeze that out for another episode 4, 5, and 6, movie 4, 5, and 6 now with that. So it only begs the reason that if Loki is setting up things for the multiverse so heavily, that we feed that a little bit more and lead that into Ant-Man 3, where they're going to answer a lot of those types of questions on how the quantum realm works and stuff like that. I think the multiverse stuff will most likely get answered and make better sense by the time we at least get to Multiverse of Madness. I'd say by the time we get to Multiverse of Madness, we should, even on a normie level, be caught up and understand what the MCU version of time travel and all that types of stuff really is. Right now, we're learning or building it up. I think Loki did a better job of explaining it, or at least making it make sense, than they did in Endgame. Endgame didn't really make too much sense at all. They were throwing up Back to the Future rules and saying certain movies and stuff were debunked and didn't work in the MCU. We didn't like the Mobius strip was supposed to be the whole Endgame reason why they were able to do it, because it's a mechanism that turns itself back on, and now we're supposed to just understand that he figured out to use the strip. But what was all the other math that he had to do to get there in the first place? If that's something you're going to put in the movie for us to even try to focus on, he's sitting there trying to figure all that out. And the Mobius strip is the Endgame thing on that? No, not really, because just Thanos being able to come back or come to the future, which is technically what he did, kind of throws off a lot of different things that if you really think about it. So they're closing these plot holes up, and I think Loki did a good, decent job on explaining why certain things didn't cause an anomaly, why certain things weren't a Nexus event, and why the Avengers were able to go back and remove certain things, although they tried to put it back, and blah, 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 blah. Like, it makes a lot more sense now after watching this show. Will some normies still be lost? Yeah, of course they still will be, because like normies, you got to think of a level as like 0 to 4. Like the 5 would be the intermediate. So they may, at 0, they might not know nothing. At 4, they might have an idea of something, but you got to explain and push them over. So there's like a wide range in there that when we say normies, that we kind of have to touch on and see like what are we talking about? Why are they confused? Are they confused because they have absolutely no idea what's going on, or because they're just not at that level yet and they need that push? So I think Loki is something that in the future, when people are like, well, how does this work? I don't get it. You can be like, hey, go back and watch Loki. Obviously, you didn't watch that. And boom, there's the answers. So yeah, I think episode 6 is going to be a banger. I'm pretty sure it's going to get a 10 out of me. I'm waiting for it, and I believe it's going to deliver. And I honestly, I enjoy the show so much, I don't give a damn who's behind it. Shoot, it could be Loki's grandma for all I care. It could be Grandma Loki behind this for all I care. I think that they did such a phenomenal job at getting to this point, making people feel however they felt about seeing the Loki Sylvie aspect and wondering how and where that's going. Are you the stuck in the dryer type of stepsister now, or are you just the regular, we're just gonna be friends and see how that goes because we've never had a friend before, and to us the viewer it looks cringy, but in the end it's just really them evolving and seeing two Lokis. And that's kind of the thing I think Mobius maybe have been talking about. Whatever event that they were creating, there's not ever been a Loki that trusted anybody, right? Period. Let alone even if it's himself. It's never like Loki's never trusted no one. Honestly, to a certain point, to a certain level, Loki don't even trust himself, because he's even saying it. I'm driven by self issues. I got all these issues of myself. That's what drives me to bring it out on other people, when at the same time I'm just avoiding myself. I'm avoiding my issues. So here it is, a Loki that's getting self revelations from himself or herself in a different aspect of it. That has to be a kind of a Nexus event, because they are always set to lose. They're always set to be the one that helps progress other people. There's never been a time when a Loki has actually progressed themselves. So that has to create some kind of a variant issue in the beginning right there. So I'm kind of interested to see if that's something that manifests itself when they go into the quantum realm or into wherever this castle is. It looks like a quantum realm version. But with the way the castle looks and everything, people saying it could possibly be Doom. Josh has even said it himself, not that it could be Doom, but like that Kang kind of felt like him and Doom were the same character in the comics. And if you take that into an MCU standpoint, it's really easy for you to take elements of that and mix it up a bit, with us getting confirmation that Doom's going to be in the MCU anyway. There's no saying. And that's another good thing to think about too. The fact that we got confirmation that we got a Dr. Doom, we're seeing a kind of Doom-style looking type of castle. And we haven't seen Doom at all. No idea where he's coming from. Like, we could get a full-fleshed problem of a Doom, full costume, just because he is a multiverse variant. Instead of having to go through a complete origin story of maybe seeing the events of Sokovia affecting the economy of Latveria or whatever the case, we ain't got to go through none of that no more. He could just simply be Doom in all his glory, and we just get a quick little backstory real fast of whatever verse he came from, and that's it. No more this spending 15, 20 minutes at the beginning of a movie and watching his parents die again. Oh, my bad. I'm thinking how they keep handling Batman over the
Don't let it rage you, man. Don't become the chat. It seems that the chat has started to rage quite a bit.
I see.
And it's all about opinions, and it's all about, being able to discuss said opinions and move on. But I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, it doesn't matter who's proven right, who's proven wrong. Loki is a dope ass show. We know this. Like the fans and the response and the fact that we are even having these debates are proof of that. Because we wasn't this heated about WandaVision. I mean, we were heated, but we were all heated in unison.
Like
we were heated in unison. We were outraged. This is what it's supposed to be. And to be quite honest, this is what I've been waiting for us to get back to, in the sense of this nerdy shit that we cover, is actually being able to debate theories and break shit down and get into it on this level, because this is where, you know, the entertainment for me comes from. Like, I love enjoying the content, but again, you can watch the content, and we'll get into conversation and libation. I want to make this point real quick. I think what's happening is that there's now become there's two different levels of really interacting with content these days. You've got normies who basically tune in and watch Loki every week, don't get any spoilers, don't get any leaks, don't go watch any breakdown videos or anything like that. They watch the show and they have an opinion of the show based on that, you know, them watching the show. There is no supplemental content. They don't care about, well, what is the origin of this character and where did they first show up in the comics and what story are they adapting the Loki show from. They don't give a shit. They are enjoying the show for what it is. So they're taking it at face value. Then you have, I think, the next level from that is, you know, us to a degree, where it's like we have some knowledge of the background. We know some of the comic book runs. We know some of the characters. We do get into the leaks. We do get into the spoilers. We do want to get in here and chop it up and talk about this stuff after the fact. But when you do that, it invites certain questions that really aren't necessarily, I don't want to say meant to be asked, but are more for our own entertainment. Like, and I think that's the thing that we all kind of start to get mixed up with, is that we tend to hold shows accountable for something that the shows don't have a responsibility to do. Like, the story is what the story is. You know what I'm saying? Now, from the standpoint, if we were talking about something that was like a documentary, if we were talking about something where it was based on factual events, then yeah, we could be like, get your facts straight. Like, if you're gonna explain something, or if you're gonna put together a narrative, then make sure your narrative makes sense. But when we're talking about fantasy, and we're talking about, you know, whether it's Star Wars and the Force, or the MCU and time travel, or the MCU and the powers of the Sorcerer Supreme, or whatever the case may be, we have to realize that, like, a lot of this is rooted in fantasy, so it ain't gonna make total sense.
Right.
If time travel made sense, mother would be time traveling back and forth all over the place, and I'd have one. Big facts. But it's not a real thing, and so we can't expect everything to connect and make sense. But even if you feel like that is a turnoff for you, that's cool. Like, there's nothing wrong with feeling like that, like, at all. And I don't ever want anybody to feel like we sitting up here telling you, oh, well, if you don't understand it, that's just because you ignore me and you don't get it. No, that's not what I'm saying. Just don't let the fact that you don't understand it take away from your enjoyment if it's not really meant to be understood. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, and this is something I had to really get, you know, used to when it came to Star Wars and enjoying Star Wars with my kids in particular. My youngest daughter loves Star Wars. Like, she will get into Star Wars. She doesn't get into this whole prequel trilogy versus sequel trilogy, but she don't love Star Wars like me. Like, I will talk Star Wars 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She'll get in moods where she want to watch Star Wars. Now, the funny thing about it is, we'll be watching Star Wars and I'm like sitting there trying to overload her with context. I'm like, oh, this is important because that person used to train old dude. And remember way back when we watched this episode, that's the same dude that she don't give a damn. All she care about is, what are they going to do with Omega? Where is Rey? When is Rey going to end up fighting the bad guy? Why is Kylo Ren fighting Rey? Like, she wants big plot points, all that other stuff, all of the other nuance, it's not entertaining to her. And that's so I had to realize that I can't enjoy it. I can't get into the weeds with her on that kind of stuff because that's not what appeals to her. So when we enjoy Star Wars, we enjoy Star Wars for the real surface level stuff. But when I get on here with the homie and we talk Star Wars, he wants that context. He wants to understand how, how the dots connect. So then that's when we get into it like that. So that's where it comes, like, you have to understand, or I try to understand that there's levels to how you enjoy and you consume content. And that level at which you consume content is your own choice. And you're not wrong or right, regardless of what that choice is, but you have to understand that that's the choice. Like, if I get pissed off because I feel like the sequel trilogy didn't give the Force the proper attention, or I feel like the legacy characters didn't get the proper attention, that's my opinion, and it could be factual, but there could be somebody else. Like, spoiler alert, that is all facts.
Yes,
but there are people, like the homie Star Wars Santa, who look at the sequel trilogy from a completely different perspective, and when I listen to him articulate that perspective, I can't hate it. I'm like, well, I don't agree with you, but I appreciate where you're coming from with it. And so that's the thing that I feel like we get caught up in terms of in this type of an environment, is because when we talk about theories or when we talk about kind of getting into the weeds, it becomes this tug of war of who's right and who's wrong. Whereas it really doesn't got to be all that, because we just saying it's all about talking about the content and keeping us occupied until the next iteration of said content drops. Because that's really what this is all about at the end of the day. We ain't up here talking because we have some obligation to talk, or that our talking is our discussing Loki and What If and all of that is relevant to those shows continuing to go on. Hell no. We up here talking about this shit because we don't want to be just sitting here waiting and looking at the clock until the next episode drop. That's what this is about. We nerds. We in here. Like, we want to talk this shit 24/7, 365. So I'm here for all of it. Every point, every point of view. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. I couldn't say it any different. Can't articulate that any different than how you are right now. I completely agree. Everything you're saying. It's just really down to enjoying the content. Maybe we don't like WandaVision and you loved WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Love on. I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you otherwise.
No.
Just don't come ask me to watch it with you, because I'm good.
Right. I'm going to go hang out with the people who dislike it.
Right.
Like I do.
Exactly.
And resonate. It's all about finding that energy, really what it comes down to. And this is just a means to an end, or a tool that brings people together. We are all here together to share in our opinion and to actually and extract. You can extract from other people's opinions too. Sometimes other people's opinions can turn yours around. Maybe you didn't notice something or think of it in a particular way. So it's
did they blick the homie out of here? Wait a minute. What is going on with the homie? Okay. See, you know what? It's the same stuff. Look, man, I'm starting to feel like you, man. I'm starting to wonder.
Try to tell you.
It's that.
Try to tell you.
Man, where's my guy? Where's my guy?
He's keep doing it to me, man.
He's back, ladies and gentlemen.
They do it to me all the time.
Be back. Man, we gotta talk to Warner Brothers, man. This ain't cool.
Yeah.
This is not getting cool.
Little do they know that I'm actually the Lapis from Earth Sativa.
Oh, look, there you go.
We don't have numbers around here. We got names.
There we go.
We got names.
They tried to prune you, bro. I had to come get you back from the void, man.
Right. They tried to put me in the void, but guess what? I avoided that one now, didn't I?
Oh yeah, man. You know we not doing it. You're a Loki, man. You a survivor.
Low key.
You be low key in these streets surviving, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Speaking of surviving, man. If you are still here and gave us the super chat, we appreciate you surviving to the point
Right.
where we get the conversation and libation and start
Yes,
getting
sir.
into some of these, man.
Yeah,
Let
man.
go.
Here on the Den of Nerds Live, where you get 2 streams 5 days a week.
Tell them.
Plus, you get the Darren's Danger Room.
Tell them.
Plus, you get an After Dark.
Tell them.
Plus, you get them Saturday behind the scenes streams.
Keep telling them.
Plus, you get them Prime streams. Plus, you get them night streams brought to you by Surfshark.
Man.
You can go and at checkout, use code NERD and get 83% off.
How much?
83% off for 3 months.
That's what I'm saying. 3 months extra.
3 months,
you get
man.
3 months extra free. And you get 83% off. Man,
Ain't
look.
nothing better than that, man.
What better way to disguise yourself when you are perusing the internet looking for low-key theories or in the message boards sharing your hot takes? You better get that Surfshark, man. I'm just saying. You better get that Surfshark. You got to do that.
Better get up on it, man. Better get up, especially if you a scooper and you don't want them to find out that you got that info.
Yeah. If you a scooper, you might want to get that Surfshark.
You might want to get that Surfshark. Just trying to tell you, man.
That's what's up.
We're going to hop right into this conversation to libation.
Yes, and let's start it off with Renee Ramon with the $2 soup. Appreciate that. Wants to know, what are y'all's thoughts on Star Wars Visions? I have to be honest. I've been Nerdvengers so hard, I ain't even got a chance to check Star Wars Visions yet, man.
We need to go get our visions checked.
Slacking. I need to get my visions checked because I have not.
Maybe
yet.
If you're still here in the chat, maybe we can request elaboration.
There you go.
On these visions, man.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a multiversal thing? No, I really don't.
Yeah, I haven't
any idea.
I saw it, but I haven't got a chance to like dive into it yet and see what's good. But I will definitely be doing that ASAP. That's for sure.
Most definitely. And then we got OG Fan, the $2. He said, Grogu in the Book of Boba Fett. Am I the only one who doesn't want it? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about it?
I can see that point. I'm not mad at it. I'd look, just give me more Grogu, damn it. So now here's where I could sway you if we were doing that. Cause hey, totally entitled to that opinion, straight up. But would you be willing to consider baby Grogu in the Book of Boba Fett if Grogu being around that seedy, unsavory element helped to feed his eventual turn to the dark side?
Yeah, can't forget about that one.
Because I'm still on that train for evil baby Yoda. Please believe.
Yeah, man.
I want him to be evil little mother.
Evil. Evil.
Yes.
Man, I don't know, man. You might get your wish.
I'm hoping.
You might be one of them reasons why the Jedi Academy got burnt down.
I'm saying, man.
The sole reason, but it could be still alive out there somewhere. We don't know what he's doing.
Man,
he out there.
He definitely out there. I feel like this next Superman was like right in time for our conversation we just got off of. But we can bring it back real quick. Appreciate your Felicity Pooh Bell with the $10. Said, never be worried about other people's opinions affecting something. Hold your own and stand by it. All fans are coming from a different place, but hopefully we can meet peacefully in the middle. Word. I feel that 1,000%, except there's one problem. When you are in the social media age, we have seen that if enough people collectively have an opinion, whether that opinion is a good opinion or a bad opinion, that opinion can sway the decisions of the companies that are creating the content that I am here to consume. So based on that, if I'm worried that Star Wars fans might get a little bit extra with their displeasure, and it could affect something that would otherwise be an actual good thing for the franchise, I think that's a legitimate concern. Am I wrong, my guy?
I mean, like you said, in the social media age, it's better to have a voice than to sit back nowadays. Like, you can't just look at stuff and be like, oh, well, that's their opinion anymore. Next thing you know, you come back and it's trending on Twitter, and next thing you know, the companies are changing everything. And yeah, I have to agree.
I'm just saying, man, that's the thing. It's like, I am not here to suppress anybody's opinion. Please voice your opinion. But what worries me is that there's a lot of weight put on opinions these days. And sometimes these opinions aren't necessarily vetted out because you have corporations that are very, very knee-jerk with their reactions. And sometimes you need to dive a little bit deeper into these opinions and understand where they are coming from before just reacting to them, because sometimes the reaction is not as necessary as they think it is. Case in point, what they did with the sequel trilogy. But I digress. We will not go there. We will not go there. Who we got next, man?
I'm about to say, instead we're gonna go to the Citadel Steves with the $2 holler. Thank you, sir. And Steve says the world between worlds could be used to age Grogu. Could it be? Is that a?
It's definitely a thing, but that's one I wouldn't be down with. Like, I've thought about this long and hard. I was one of these people that was like, they could go back to. Nah, let's not do world between world stuff. For the same reason that we see what time travel is doing to the MCU. Nothing terrible, but man, look, could you imagine if we had to have them conversations too? I'm like, nah, bro. Like, in Star Wars, let's not do that. Let's just leave it out of Star Wars. Star Wars does not need time travel. I know the world between worlds technically is not time travel, but no, let's not make it any more convoluted. Let's just keep it simple.
I would have to agree with that. I don't really want to see them age him up through some means like that. I don't even want them to age him up through a time jump. Like, let's go through a normal bit of time, maybe progress it. Like, I don't know how many days. So like, even some shows, the week that you're off from watching the show is literally a week in that show. And they could do something like that, progress it quickly in the weeks of the show, and age him up, give us more information about how these damn things work in the first place. Maybe Grogu hits a growth spurt when he hits 51. Who knows?
Who knows, right?
You know what I'm saying? All he needs is kneecaps and he's fine. Like, right now, there ain't no duck, no pivot, no nothing he could do other than probably use the force and deflect it, like most jokes go over some people's heads. Like, that's all he's got right now. And
no doubt,
just looking cute. Otherwise, though, I mean, he was handling them stormtroopers, though. So
big facts.
All you need to do is give my man like some force electricity or something, and
he gonna handle that
just fine. Exactly. Like,
he definitely gonna handle that.
Turn my man into a can or something. Stormtrooper drink.
Yeah, man.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Hey, we might have to work that out, man. Darth Dingus with the $2.99 says, why would Loki need to use robot timekeepers? I don't think it's a need situation. It could be, you could even look at a situation where maybe the TVA and the fake robots existed before the Loki that's running it now, if that is the case, showed up. And maybe he realized that was the establishment and swooped in and took it over. We don't know. I don't, that's a good question. And maybe, from that respect, but again, it's all about the illusion in the game within the game.
Right.
So with Loki, it's not about him needing it, but if it is a means to help push the facade even further, and it's another layer. Right. It's not just, I look at it as another layer between the truth and what they are actually perceiving. People that encounter the TVA perceive.
Yeah, and that to me kind of feeds into it could possibly be a Loki behind it, because one, it's misleading, it's mischievous, like it's everything a Loki would do in that kind of a situation is set up something that's gonna, that's set up pretty much. And to me, another part that kind of pushes and made me initially think it could possibly be a Loki is because right there, everybody else got their ass whooped. She's over there focused on the TVA. What they start doing? They came to make a bargain all of a sudden. They start trying to back out. They start trying to be like, yo, we can talk about this. Who else does that on the daily after they just finish getting handled by anybody? Loki. All of a sudden now he's like, okay, let's talk about this. You done flip me upside down like a pancake. You got me on the ground. Let's talk about this. And that's exactly what the TVA started doing as soon as she was getting ready to. So
no doubt.
I don't know. He would need it so he doesn't get personally. Somebody's trying to take my man's head off. And hopefully it's not Rob Wissenhunt. He came to with $5. He said Sylvie equals Valeria Richards. Sacred timeline. That was one that Kang or Doom purged of Reed Richards, and she's after the TVA Doombots to restore her family. They could probably turn her into. I could see them turning her into that, depending on how they might end this. If maybe somehow she's no longer a Loki variant. Yeah. I mean, obviously, we saw her be a Loki. She's a variant from a young age. But I mean, again, with how they're hitting the multiverse, almost anything is possible. They can, her too, and then bring in a whole nother version. And next thing you know, it's the Richards, and we get the Richards verse. So that's definitely possible. I haven't seen any Doom bots, and I haven't seen anything other than this castle that would closely resemble anything with Doom. I would say Wakanda, the Wakanda show would be the perfect place to kind of tease either Doom or Namor or something like that. I would say they would probably, what they're good at doing is at least keeping certain either villains or whatever the case, their tropes. They keep their tropes isolated to an extent. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going to see an Isaiah Bradley pop up in this show. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of an isolation. Like it's very specific. And I don't think that they would try. That would be something that I think would confuse normies. Especially, it would confuse the hell out of me. Like, we're all expecting Kang, and then we get Doom. That would be a complete dope twist. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I'm still gonna go back and be like, what the hell happened with Kang?
All these Kang references and everything.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with the way the TVA looked, period, the TVA looked so closely related to Kang that all this types of stuff just makes sense. Like, go read any kind of trade. Go read anybody who's making articles about this stuff right now. Everybody's like, hey, it's clear cut that it has to be Kang. So, if it's not a Loki, Kang is the only other thing that would make sense. So, I don't know. We'll see where they decide to go. That Mr. Wissenhunt. I'm saying it right. I don't know if it's maybe he's the Wisenhunt. I mean, he could be. You put Hunt at the end of something, you better be wise when you're doing it. So, I don't know. If you're in the chat, let me know if I'm saying it right. I could be.
Indeed. Who knows? Well, I do know that next up, we got Felicity Poobell with another $10. Appreciate you. Says, I, for one, am not ready for MCU to become the Fast Saga, but I digress. Always love the AD. Great to be here. No WP, because GFGJ. Stay blurty, my friends. Man, I don't think we got to worry about the MCU becoming the Fast series in no time soon. That's a bit much.
You know why though, right? Because so far, none of these have I seen anybody really become a family.
Exactly.
It's all about family.
Hey, and nobody's living their life a quarter mile at a time. Or does that even matter in the Fast Saga no more? Do they not even talk about? Is it even about cars anymore? Like,
it's still about cars.
In order for in order for the MCU to become like the Fast Saga, it'd have to be like, we're not focusing on heroes and villains anymore. We're going in a whole different direction. We going. I can't. No.
Hey.
No.
Look, we'll worry about the MCU when they come out with Marvel's next big show, Family Matters.
Oh man.
Then it'll definitely be Fast Saga related.
Right.
And it'll just be everybody will be ripped driving cars, and they won't even need powers no more. Like, people like Loki will come out and try to use their telekinesis, and it won't work because family's too strong.
Yeah, man.
So. Now, I think we're okay. I don't think it'll be anywhere near Fast Saga, and I'm almost even forgetting the reason why you would even say anything like that. Don't you wish that on the MCU?
Right, I'm saying, man. Like, I love my lady mans, but they be doing the most sometimes. It's like, slow down.
Hey, and if you want to catch them doing the most of the mostest, make sure that you get in on that main gang server and catch them Sundays. Okay, Sundays are the new times of the 8. I believe.
I can't keep up. You know they changed the time on it, brother. Like
They're getting there. They're getting there.
Soon as I get like comfortable, it's like, oh, we switched, man. You know what? I love y'all, lady mains.
Yeah, you gotta love them. Gotta love them.
Of course.
Gotta love them.
Hey, Whitney.
You gotta love Matthew K as well.
Oh, yes.
$1.99. He says,
yeah.
Jack Bauer variant as Iron Man. A man can dream.
Hey, we have the mechanism and the means to make it happen now.
Yep. Most
Look,
definitely.
I have a crazy fanboy dream and theory that at some point, the next level is that every movie's gonna be connected, and we tying every universe together.
Oh yeah,
it will happen.
One sacred movie timeline.
One sacred movie timeline, indeed.
That's ran by the what would that be? The AGA or something? The Actors Guild Academy or something?
Exactly.
It'd be ran by 3 people. And Feige was definitely one people. It'd be Feige, Filoni, and Zack Snyder. Why not? Let's throw him in there.
Bingo.
That sounds like
you see, Nino Brown got shot, and on his way to the morgue, his blood was tainted with a vampire, and that's how he became Blade. So it's in the same universe. It's all connected. It's all connected.
Oh man!
When Victor Sweet,
Godzilla and all them in there.
Oh, that too. Look, that too. When Victor Sweet got dumped into the water. That was actually a portal that ended up putting him in comatage, and he ended up finding the sacred one, and my man became. Look, I be thinking about this, man. I'm telling you, it's all connected.
Oh, so you know what? That makes perfect sense. Because now he's not really making money, and that's why he's worried about the bills coming due.
Bills coming due because my man ain't got
perfect sense.
Man, look, I'm telling you, all I need is for him to be in Doctor Strange 2 and tell Wong to go sit at the kiddie table. I'm like, I told y'all. Y'all thought I was playing.
Oh no! He gonna beat the hell out of Doctor Strange in front of his woman. And while he's there, and I get down there with your man.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Oh man,
boy.
Talking to Dr. Doom like, I like the way
you do business.
Hey, that is my favorite role from Chiwetel
all
Ejiofor, dude.
Day.
Like,
man.
Yes. It don't help that when I got my hair cut short and fro, the little cornbread fro, I
already see it.
It don't help.
Oh man.
But hey, I make sure I get out there and nerdvenging these streets and get that paper because the bill always comes due.
Always comes due. I'm telling you, man. Look, look. I sit here and I think about this stuff, man. It's all connected.
Man, you gonna make me? Yeah, you go, Whitney. You want me to do a PowerPoint? I'm gonna get with Al.
Look, I'm telling you, bro, that'll be a 4-hour show because like I got connections on connections on connections.
Oh man!
Look, I'm gonna give y'all one more nugget, and y'all gonna have to go dig for this one. We'll start with the more recent movie, The Day After Tomorrow. The scene when all the people are trapped in the library in New York.
Mm-hmm.
There's a security guard, a black security guard in the library that's like giving them fits and stuff, telling them they need to go outside and walk because everybody else is out there. That same dude, maybe 20 years earlier, was a street dealer playing cards on New York in Short Circuit 2. Who's to say that man ain't clean up his life and become a security guard in New York and that can't be in the same universe? I'm just saying, man. Saying. It's all connected.
That makes sense.
It's all connected, man. I'm trying to tell you.
Multi-movie-versal implications.
I'm telling you. Look, Jake Gyllenhaal was in that movie and he was a genius. Who's to say that after he survived what happened in New York, my man didn't start going to work and created his whole Mysterio situation.
Right.
And look, see, you see what I'm telling you, man. It's all connected.
After something so crazy, like people are just ready to believe anything.
You just believe it. People will believe anything at that point. You know, the world, we literally had the new ice age pop off. So who wouldn't believe that you had these elementals? He could have blamed that storm on the elemental. You know what I'm saying? Look, I'm telling you,
Like
man.
most definitely, he's always being circulated around storms too. I mean, because who knows if he really died when he was Donnie Darko?
I'm trying to
You know
tell
what I'm
you.
saying?
See, now you starting to
that
understand what I'm saying, man.
man,
Now
he
you
got
starting
transported and he woke up the day after tomorrow.
And hatched the plan to get Spider-Man the day before yesterday.
Oh man.
Oh, where
It's all
are
starting to
we
make sense.
next? Yeah, I'm telling you, it's all connected, man.
Right. You know I'm gonna have to handle this one because we are
Yes,
up to
sir.
Tommy Banana with a $5 holla. He
Yes,
said,
sir.
almost forgot my super for the After Dark crew. Much love. I think we got him a little spoiled, man.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good.
You know he liked that. Should have never gave you Nerdvengers money.
You don't know how to appreciate it. Daniel Fisher with the $5 said, just love for the AD crew. Enjoy all the nerdy rides we're on. Nerdvengers, take my money. Gladly, sir. We appreciate you.
I will totally take your money on a Thursday.
On a Thursday.
For some more money on a Friday.
Indeed. Oh, boy.
Indeedly do. Man, it's going to make me have to go brush my teeth because Crest came through with the $10 holla. He said, hey. Hey, well, hey.
And hey. And
you know what else? And hey.
That's the one. Yep. That's the one.
He said, I wish I could watch After Dark every day.
And I'm sure Mosmos is like, don't skip my $4.99 super to get the Crest. Cause I sure had one. And she came with the grandma. Right. She said, Grandma Loki FTW. Don't you mean FWB? I'm sorry. Wait, wrong one. Okay. Beats them with her walker, and Miss Minutes has to turn up her volume. I need this to be canon. We gonna holler at Feige and make it happen.
Yes, sir. Especially since they're not under contract no more. I don't care. I will throw on the grandma wig and the glasses and everything.
With the pearls don't go down. Medea. Don't go Medea, man.
Yes. No, I'm gonna beat that until it turns red. When I say sat down, I mean sat down, Loki. Now sat down. Yes. Exactly.
Well,
I'm gonna have to, oh Medea.
Oh man, see, look. And just like that, old man Loki is the GOAT comes with a $1.99 super and calls what you just described perfectly. Said we about to get a lavish variant.
Hey, yeah.
I be damned if look at that. Yep. See how them timelines intersected, people? That's time travel. That's the MCU.
That is the MCU. That is definitely the MCU. It's kind of funny, we got us jumping around. I guess we're gonna jump town it.
Yep.
With the $1.99. He said, just got back from the movies. Black Widow is dope.
Man,
he gonna have to make me. I might have to stay up a little late and check this out. Ain't it supposed to also be released on HBO? Was it Disney Plus?
Yeah, it's supposed to be something like a watch party or something like that going down, man.
Ain't nothing like another watch party. Yeah, we might have to do that. A little bit later tonight. Catch up with some Black Widow and another watch party.
There you go. Because let's see. Then we got OG fan when Star Wars was just Star Wars with the $2 soups. Appreciate you. Says, DS Grogu as Boba's bad ass salacious crumb. I'm with it.
Sounds
might be able to rock with it.
Feasible. Sounds feasible to me.
Indeed, it does.
Talk about Star Wars. This next one. This DT 2024. Welcome. You are a Nerdvenger now.
Indeed, welcome. Yes,
always glad to have you here.
And I am definitely glad to see $2 more from OG fan. Says, chill, y'all. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody got one.
Everybody.
But what if there's a variant in a universe, another universe that doesn't have one? Would they need to be pruned? Would
Mm.
they be able to have prune juice?
I knew you was gonna. I knew it. I took it from me. That's exactly where I was gonna go with that. That's how you get. I can't say this joke. I have to save that one for after
dark. Yeah,
I think you kind of
man.
know where I was going with that.
Yeah, man.
The PG version is that's how you get Loki drugged. That's how you get Loki drugged.
There you go.
Yeah, they use prune juice.
Prune
We'll have to find
juice.
out. Maybe that's what Kang uses. he harnessed it in those.
He like,
in
I got
those
that purple
batons.
for you, all right.
Right.
Man,
I
who
can't
next?
deal.
Who next?
It looks like we got the homie Lord Vito coming
Veed.
through with the $10. Oh, it's not a Power Rangers question either. He said, just here to show love to After Dark. Don't mind me. I just woke up. Said I'll be up for Black Widow and Bad Batch.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Ain't
we
mad.
look forward to seeing you.
Ain't
totally look
mad.
forward to seeing
Indeed.
it.
Talking about looking forward to seeing somebody we ain't seen in a minute.
Yeah.
Apar, what's poppin', homie? Said, what up, Maine's been a while. That it certainly has. Says, what would be your worst case scenarios for Loki's and Bad Batch's ends? Put the perp in the air.
Yes,
Please
sir.
believe. Appreciate that full 99 soup, and you already know it's going down. But to answer your question, worst case scenario for Loki, I got it for you right here.
Uh-oh.
They go into the castle. They get split up. Sylvie get taken out. Loki's walking in. He opens the doors and reveals it was Agatha all along.
Okay. Honestly, I thought she was gonna say you open the door and it's Ralph Boner. I was
No,
like,
that'd be that. You know what? That would be worse. I think that would be worse. You're right.
Like, man, he opens the door and he turns around like Boner.
Oh, bro. And then look, and then Loki opens his eyes and he's like literally laying on the floor still back in front at the beginning of or the end of Avengers. Like it was all a dream. Be like,
was
what
all a
the-
dream.
Right. I'm like, man, stop this bullshit. And then for
man.
Bad Batch, what tell me, what would be your worst scenario ending for Bad Batch, bro?
My worst scenario ending for Bad Batch. Man, you go first. It's gonna take me. I'm about to, cause you know me as a swarming. I'm gonna have to pull some stuff together. I have to pull it together on that one. But I don't know. Worst case, everybody in the Bad Batch dies, and you just left with a kid Omega who tries to find the TVA and turns out it's Loki all along. That's why
I was gonna say something a little bit different. I was gonna say that she actually finds a Jedi temple and goes into the world between worlds and pops back out on the other side of the sequel trilogy.
Ah, man. I got one worse for you. I got one worse than that. Okay, so she goes through the world between worlds and she pops out and she's standing next to LeBron James in
Oh God,
in
no,
Space Jam
please.
2.
No.
They're like, Omega,
I
we
would-
need your help.
Oh
And she's
my
dunking on
God,
fools.
bro, I would die. You gonna make me look. Boy, don't even get me talking. Don't even get me started on that farce of a movie. How dare LeBron James sully the good name and reputation of the classic Space Jam?
I'm trying to tell
Man,
you.
look, don't even get me started, man. I'm a Bron fan, but bruh, whew,
I could go for that. Totally.
that's like
Just put over.
that's
put
like
Omega in
Little
there.
Yachty doing Captain EO remake, bruh. Like that's just can we not? Like I don't need to see like Young Boy NBA or somebody like that doing a thriller
See, you
thriller
over here popping
reboot.
out names. You just further proving that I'm a boom millennial.
Now see what I'm doing is just like rambling out names that sound like names that like
Right? They all sounded like you got the baby.
I got the baby, the other baby, the little baby, the boss baby. I got little Yachty. I got little
bad baby.
I got little rescue boat. I got big tug boat.
I'm surprised like nobody's ever taken Bad Baby and then put her in a Bad Batch, like Photoshop her in something Bad
Oh,
Batch.
man.
Maybe because she ain't relevant anymore.
See,
Now that I said it, somebody's gonna do it.
Somebody's gonna do it.
Somebody's gonna do it now. They're
do
gonna
it.
put Bad Baby on Omega, like her head on Omega's body, and really call it Bad Batch with an H, BHAD Batch. I can totally see that being something. Totally see that being something. But we got the homie Rob Wissenhunt coming through again. Apparently, with the $5, he said it right the first time. Nobody ever does that, unless you're Lavis. He said the Valeria theory is super sweaty. But the robot timekeepers in episode 5 Castle had to get nerdy. Hey.
Yes. Indeed.
That was definitely. Yeah, that was definitely a super sweaty. Like now that's something that would confuse the normies.
Indeed it would.
If Marvel did that. Not saying it's a bad take, but saying that's something that would prove to be very, very, very misleading.
Yes.
Be very serious.
Very,
if it was.
Very serious. You know what else is serious? This $10 soup I got from Star Wars MCU OG. Appreciate you pimping. Said love AD. What's up to all my Nerdvengers? You know what it is, man. We in here, man.
You sees it, man. You sees it. Who else we see?
We see Amber.
Yes, with the $4.99. Said, really wish I could stay up with y'all, but got work in the morning. Just wanted to show y'all love. Loving all the Marvel content lately.
Hold on. Is Amber a Felicity variant? That super chat sounded very familiar.
It did. The only thing I think it was missing was GFGJ.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would say SB, but you gotta say stay blurry.
You gotta say stay blurry. Gotta say stay blurry.
Gotta say that.
Just like I gotta show love to Jose Hernandez with this $10. Appreciate you, man. Said, how goes it, fellas? Love the show. Keep hustling, man. My fanboy dreaming of seeing Gladiator Captain America from Secret Wars riding that T-Rex mane. Read the book. It was a great story. Sounds like it. I'm about to go find that, man. That's what I'm saying. With the Secret Wars, man, if we don't get some turned up, crazy, insane shit, I ain't gonna know what to do, man. It's gotta go hard. Gotta go hard.
Riding T-Rex. They're gearing up to that, man. Like, and if we get Cap riding a T-Rex, then there's no way that right around the corner, if we haven't gotten it already, that we can get to Savage Land. Okay, we got to get to the Savage Land and at least get mutants solidified. I don't care if it's X-Men. We at least got to get mutants solidified, hopefully before they announce a Secret Wars. Like, we have to have characters like Cyclops and Colossus and Storm and all of them being involved in the Secret Wars story. Like, to me, they're essential.
Exactly,
they're totally
man.
essential.
Exactly. It's got to be, you got to have all of that, man. You got to.
Right. And then think about it too. Like, if we're thinking what we're going through now with this multiversal stuff is crazy. Wait till we get to Secret
That's
Wars.
what I'm saying. Like, bruh.
Like, oh my God. I think No Way Home is going to be like the test.
Yep.
Because the way No Way Home sounds, like it's going to be crazy, dude.
Oh, man, we didn't even get into some of them leaks and like the shit that they talking about going down, bro. Like,
it's crazy.
Let me tell you, man, it's going to blow minds.
Yes. And apparently, what else is going to blow minds is this super from Mike Porter, the $4.99. He said, hey, I'm just back from a full theater to see Black Widow, and I loved it. MCU can't get an Oscar. It will save the industry. Hey, who said the MCU can't get an Oscar? In some multiverse, they probably will.
Indeed.
Most definitely. But I feel like they definitely have the ability to save the industry. I've always been saying that. Like I already said, once we start getting the Black Widow and Shang-Chi, and especially when we get I think by the time we get to Spider-Man, it won't be almost full.
Oh yeah.
There's gonna be people outside. Like people gonna be drilling holes to try to go see what's going on in Spider-Man. For sure. I think Spider-Man No Way Home is gonna be big enough. You ready for this? I think it's gonna be big enough to bring back legit bootlegs. Like,
what?
People outside with the DVD.
Oh man, so you mean
old jewel cases?
Man, you mean you're gonna be able to get a copy and see somebody sneaking into their seat like 5 minutes into the movie?
Yes.
Oh
yes. Man, I'm most definitely. You might even hear Medea in the background, like, sit down.
You haven't lived until you watched a bootleg movie.
if you don't know about the old school bootlegs,
Man, I'm talking about like the camera come in crooked and you got to see them adjusting. Or you watch the whole bootleg and then you finally see the actual copy and realize it was a third of the screen you didn't see. So you're like, now this should make sense because I can see this.
Yes, that's where I was going with that one. Man. I remember I watched the Hulk, the original Eric Bana Hulk one, and man, I remember seeing my man's shorts was glitching in and out, and I'm like, oh no, what are we doing? The dogs were all smooth. They didn't even have no texture, nothing to them.
I remember that was that pre-CGI finished version. You like, what the fuck? Oh, man.
Yes. I remember watching that one. Watching Hollow Man. I know everybody.
Oh, man. Don't nobody know about Hollow Man.
Yeah, I don't remember Hollow Man. This is before Christian Slater. I don't even know if y'all know about that one, man. This is old Kevin Bacon.
Going way back. Yeah,
yes.
Man.
Yes, this is, I remember, Sixth Sense. I caught the bootleg on that too. FBI, stay away. Don't come messing with me.
Like, I am not.
This is old. Don't nobody do that no more.
For real.
We don't make bootlegs no more. And I know you love it, love it, love it.
Stream. Let me get this last one out the way from Cameron Brazil. $6.99 Canadian. I don't know how that break down, but I'm gonna take it either way, man. Appreciate you. Say, what do you guys think of Delta Squad popping up in the Bad Batch? Could it happen? Love the show, guys. Hey, the way Bad Batch is going, man, like I feel like that show is still wide open. Like there's so much stuff that they've kind of done, but they've really put this or presented this storyline in a way where I don't really know where Bad Batch is going right now. Like I get the overall overarching plot of it, but I thought by this point we'd maybe be able to have some kind of sense of direction in the terms of like how this is gonna end up. And I thought it would be kind of them ending up back on Camino and having to destroy the cloning facility, but it don't now I don't know. I don't really know, man. So yeah, Delta Squad popping up, very well possible. I think we just gonna have to keep watching, see what this episode drops tonight, and then call it from there, man.
Yeah, everything he said, because I don't know shit about Delta. I don't know about Delta Squad, and I can't say the other Delta that's going around right now. So
no, don't. We don't talk about that here.
No, don't talk about that here. So the only thing I know about is Delta Force, and that was a dope.
Boy, you don't know nothing about no Delta Force, man.
And the maps went forever. Forever. Kind of like how we stream.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
I remember my dad literally set something on the keyboard, walked away, came back an hour, and my man's was still running. Like he was the Forrest Gump on that one, dude. Never ended. Let's see what's going on here in the chat for a little bat.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see everybody talking about Bad Batch's fire.
Yep.
Talking about how they saw some things on the bootleg. Felicity hitting us with y'all talking some be kind, please rewind type shit.
Man, for real.
Talking blockbuster, man. Talking about how you had the two. I don't think people even know you could do this. So you can have the two VHSs and you pop in the tape and you can record it.
Oh no! Oh, come on, man.
Yes.
Man, look. I'm about that line in recording, man. Boy, look, boys don't know nothing about that.
No.
That's just like just like when you run out of blank tapes. And so you take that old tape that you don't want to listen to no more. You take them little balled up pieces of paper and sticking them into little holes and be like, tell me I can't record over this.
Right.
Shit.
You don't know about that. Oh, yes. We did not get to do this last week.
Ah, that is right.
Totally did not get to do this last week. And what happened, man? Hold on. Didn't you have a amethyst? Or at least a white?
Man.
And we bust back down to the red. What happened? You need to jazz it up.
I don't know, but what happened that you all of a sudden aged 30 years?
Hey, it happens.
You sound like old Cowboy. What happened?
What's going down?
What's going on, man?
That's that purple drink voice.
Yeah,
man.
Exactly. That rasp.
Right. You gotta have a little rasp, especially when we say, Jedi Mike, welcome.
Welcome.
You are
You
jazzed
are
up.
jazzed up, Nerdvenger, once again.
Yes,
You better be getting that
sir.
after dark money and beat that ass.
Right. I seen somebody ask us earlier what happened to the Marshalls.
Oh man, they
And-
gonna come back, man.
Yes.
We are in the process of working on some changes, man. Probably gonna spruce up the lounge a little bit. Might even, shift the schedule. Maybe that's still up for debate. But yeah, man, we working on some things, man. We want to make sure we position things so that we can do it the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Most def. That's the thing, because you know who we do this for.
Indeed.
I know you know.
Oh, of course
Yes.
I know. We do it for
The people.
Yes.
always for the
Yes.
people, man.
Exactly. That's why I got the purple drink. And you know, my homie Al always coming through. Hitting you with the sauce.
Of course. Because if you ain't got the sauce, then that's your loss. Son,
Know this, man.
you know this.
And you know this.
And I know
Man.
that it is Yidga time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you knew
This is still hits.
what that means for our new folks is you don't gotta go home,
Go home
but you got
to get
the hell
hell
up out
out of here.
here. My
Yes.
man, it has been another one, man.
Yes, sir. Always fun.
Always a pleasure, my guy.
Most definitely.
And to all of our Nerdvengers, we shall most definitely see you in the next episode. Or maybe one of them. Roll
One
out.
of them two.
One of them shits.
Albot, let's roll.
Yeah, let's
Another
roll
one.
out. You know what? They probably at home kind of like.
Right. We had him rolling.
Oh, yes. We most
I know.
definitely did. We most definitely did.
Definitely. We got A-Pod back. We got Jedi Mike coming back through, getting 90 to games. Pretty productive night.
Yeah, you know what I feel about nights like this, though?
What's that?
Nights like this, I wish raindrops would fall.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Man, that's definitely appropriate. Definitely.
Oh,
Definitely appropriate.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because the truth is I thought about that and
I threw that shit before I walked in the room.
Perfect. See, now that's the type of we need around here.
you are right. You are absolutely right, because the type of that we've been having lately ain't been worth. But we gonna make sure that the get right, because if not, a mother gonna have to get dealt with real mother quick, and that's real.
Hey, exactly. Because mother always trying to ice skate uphill.
And you know what that leads to? That same mother going. That's why motherfuckers stick